What's up, guys? We're back. But we're doing something a little different today. This video is being recorded at on Monday, late at night. It's the latest I've ever recorded a video, and it's gonna come out tomorrow, Tuesday at 2 my time, precisely when the first postseason game starts. I believe is when. What time does the Astros game start? Let's check. At 2, okay, it's at 1:30. So I'm gonna schedule this for 1:30 tomorrow. So yeah, we got some games tomorrow. We're on the MLB app in case anyone's wondering, and we are gonna go over the predictions I made at the beginning of the season to see how accurate I was. And we are going to see how I predicted the playoffs and how I predicted the World Series and how I did, and then we're going to re-predict the playoffs now as I know what the field is, and we'll see how I do there. So starting off in the NL East, I have a sheet of paper right here. I printed it out in April. Y'all can hear the paper. I also did a war prediction, so we'll see what happened there. So first up, we'll start at 5th place. I picked the Marlins to go 64-98. That is a really solid prediction. They ended up at 62-100, so really solid there. I just didn't see them being good, and that was 100% accurate. Second up, we saw the Nationals, according to my predictions, going 67-95, whereas in reality they went 71-91. So again, pretty solid prediction. I think I did great there as well. Here's where things get a bit dicey. Third, I had the Mets, so we're staying correct with our rankings. But I had this team going 73-89, whereas in reality they flipped the script and went 89-73. I did not think the Mets were going to be a great team this year, and they really proved me wrong. Although there's a couple teams that proved me a lot more wrong, that we'll get to later. But I did not see this coming, and as you can expect, I did not have them making the playoffs, so I did not get that right either. However, what we did do right on the NL East is predict every team to finish in the correct place, as I did in fact pick the Braves to be the 2. However, because of injuries to players like Strider and Acuna, I a bit overshot their record and guessed that they would finish at 162, which seems a bit ambitious, but that's what I came up with. And they actually went 89-73, partially because of injuries to guys like Strider and Fried through bits of the season, and especially Acuna, and lots of other dudes here and there. But at the end of the day, we did get every team right in the correct spot, and at the end of the day, I picked the Phillies to win the division with a record of 104-58, which was a bit absurd. I went a bit top-heavy. A lot of teams have crazy records in my predictions, and a lot of teams have terrible records. And the Phillies in reality went 95-67, so I was kind of far off, but we did get the placing right, so that's great. Moving on to the Central. This is my biggest miss. I was heavily off here. And one thing I'm noticing looking at this, the Reds ended up with a +5 run differential despite having a 8 games under 500 record. Or maybe it's 4, but that's kind of crazy. Anyway, according to my predictions, this is my biggest miss. I had 5th place, the Milwaukee Brewers, going 70-92. I had zero belief in this team. I did not think they were going to be good. Guys like Jackson Chourio, Sal Frelick, some pitchers. That dude, I can't think of their names, but they've had some starters just come up big for them. Guys like Reese Hoskins, Willie Adames. I'm just pulling names out here, but they hugely outperform, I guess, for them. In 4th, I had the Cardinals going 73-89. This is another flip. They were actually 3rd, so I was 1 off. And they did a little better than I thought, so shout out to the Cardinals. This team has potential to be good next year. They need to work on their pitching, though. I think that's their biggest flaw, but not too far off on them. And this is actually really exciting. I picked the Pittsburgh Pirates record perfectly. Right here, it says I had them finishing 3rd, not 5th, but I had them going 76-86. Nope, not like for real. Like, if anyone wants proof, I will take a picture and send it on my community post on my YouTube. I was dead on with this. That's crazy. And second, I had the Reds going 80 and 82. I liked what Elly De Cruz had for this team, and the bunch of young guys they had, and a bit some injuries like TJ Friedel and others kind of had them falling off. And they ended up finishing 77 and 85 and in fourth. And I actually got no one's place correct in this division, but I did get someone's record perfect, which was the Pirates. But in first, as you can tell by process of elimination, I had the Cubbies finishing first at an 89 and 73 record, which was, of course, pretty wrong. They came back at the end of the year, but they were really not great starting the year off, and that kind of stalled them out. Moving on to the NL West, we had the Rockies in dead last on my predictions. I had them going 54 and 108. This did not happen. They ended up winning a few more than that, going 61 and 101, which is still quite bad. And this team, not really much to talk about. They're just terrible. Fourth, I had my predictions giving us the Giants at 89 and 73. I thought Snell was going to give this team more than he did at the beginning of the season. They were a lot better. He was a lot better late in the year than beginning. And this team kind of underperformed. They had a chance to do something. They really didn't capitalize, going 80 and 82. Third, I had the Padres, so bit off on the place there. Had the Padres going 91 and 71. Really solid attempt to guess their record. They did finish above the D-backs, though, who I had finishing ahead of them. But all in all, good team, good prediction right there. Second, I had the Diamondbacks finishing 162. I don't know what I saw in this Diamondbacks team. Maybe as a Rangers fan, I really just saw them as a great team. Despite the fact that we beat them pretty handily in the series, I thought they were going to be great. I thought they improved by taking one of our rotation studs from the playoffs. How long is this video going to be, bro? It's not that bad. I thought they were going to be great after they took Jordan Montgomery from us in free agency, and I really thought they were going to be good. They fell off and missed the playoffs, as we found out earlier today, which is kind of crazy. And then, yes, that means in first place I did get the Dodgers correct. I also had them finishing 162. They beat out the Diamondbacks for first via a tiebreaker, and I was pretty close on them too, as they finished 98 and 64. Moving on to the American League. I'm going to shuffle our papers out here. I was a bit biased here. I said that I said that the Rangers... Oh, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. Hang on. We'll get there. First up, I had the A's going 53 and 109. I did not see this young team getting as much better from last year as they ended up doing. Guys like Brent Rooker, Mason Miller had some great production for Oakland. And frankly, I did not see that coming. And they had a lot better record than I anticipated. Then we have the Angels, fourth. So I flopped those two. I had the Angels going 59 and 103, which is pretty close. This team was just not good. And frankly, a Trout injury prevented them from maybe getting in the 70 wins area. But yeah. In third, I had the Mariners going 96 and 66. This team just underperforms every year. It's always the hitting. I should have seen this coming. It's pretty bad. But what's worse is the fact that I had my Rangers. Maybe I was a bit biased going 97 and 65, but they were supposed to do a lot better than 78 and 84 this year. Some rotation injuries, woes, whatever you want to call them, earlier in the season kind of derailed us heavily. Guys like Evan Carter, Seager missing random stretches of time. Adolis Garcia was ice cold the whole year. Cody Bradford missed time. It was just all around pretty bad. We did finish winning our last three, though, so that's pretty cool. And in first place, I actually had the Astros getting 105 wins. I don't know why. As a Rangers fan, I allowed myself to pick that. But I thought they would be crazy this year, and they did win the West, although not nearly by that much. That really cold start contributed to that. But they did win the division, so I was correct on that. Moving on to the AL East. You have, in fifth place, I thought it would be the Red Sox. I thought they would be 66 and 96. the Red Sox definitely overperformed people's expectations. Um, but yeah, I don't really know what I was thinking here. That one's kind of just a big mess up on my part. In fourth, I had the Rays, so that's correct. I had them going 86 and 76, which they had some injuries and they underperformed and they sold at the deadline. You had the whole Wander Franco thing, which I don't really remember what was happening about him whenever I was making these predictions in like early April, late March type of the year, area of the year. But, that is what happened there. I was a little over on them, but whatever. Then we had the Blue Jays. I had them going 90 and 72, and this team is kind of like the Mariners. They underperform every year. Jays kind of picked it up at the end of the year, but now that I'm looking at this, they went 2 and 8 and lost 3 in a row, so maybe not. And I was way off on them. I don't really know what to say. This team underperforms way too much. Wow. I just saw something. We picked the Yankees record perfectly again. I had them going 94 and 68. I had them finishing second behind Baltimore, though. But that's pretty crazy that we got two teams' records perfect. We might have gotten more. I don't know yet. I haven't looked at this yet. And then in first, I had the Orioles by a game, finishing 95 and 67, taking down New York, which didn't happen. Orioles fell off a bit here at the end of the year. But we'll see what happens in the postseason, right? Heading out to the Central, and boy, oh boy. I picked the White Sox to go last with 52 and 110 as their record. They somehow did way worse than that. 41 and 121, setting the modern league record for most losses. Not much to talk about there. Here's where things get interesting, and a lot of people were off about this division. I had the Tigers up next at 70 and 82. I just didn't believe in this team, and frankly, I looked like I was going to be right for most of the year before they went on their crazy hot streak to make the postseason. But good for them. In third, I had the Royals at 70 and 82. I also didn't believe in this team. I didn't think Bobby Witt Jr. would make the huge leap that he ended up making, and I just didn't see this coming either. But good for them, right? I like the Royals. Here's an interesting one. I had the Guardians at 76 and 86, and they went off, and they did this without Shane Bieber. Imagine this Guardians team with Shane Bieber. 100 wins? Maybe. They went crazy. But I had the Twins finishing first at 91 and 71, and maybe they were on pace for that, but they had a huge collapse at the end of the year, as shown by the 6 and 8 losing right there. It's 2 and 8 out of their last 10 and 4 losses in a row to finish the year. Really just a huge collapse. Sucks for the Twins because I do like them. Yeah. But now, we're on to the playoffs. I think I did fine. We had the division of the NL East where I predicted the team's order correctly. We had the Centrals. I got both the Centrals wrong by a huge amount. And we had teams like the Pirates and Yankees. I got the records perfect. But we'll see how our playoffs, and I don't remember how I predicted the playoffs. All I remember is who I had winning the World Series at the beginning of the year. So, without further ado, here is who I had in the playoffs. Starting in, we're going to move over to this so I can show y'all what it actually looks like. So, in the playoffs, I had, so we'll go over real life first. So, in real life, we have the 3-seed Astros against the 6-seed Tigers. 4-seed Orioles against 5-seed Royals. Yankees and Guardians get a bye. Then in the NL, you have the Mets against the Brewers, 6 against 3, and the Braves against Padres, 5 against 4, with the Dodgers and Phillies getting byes. So in the American League, I had the 3-seeded Twins, since I had them winning the Central, against the 6-seeded Yankees, who were a wild card after finishing a game out of Baltimore. So that was my first matchup. And I had the Twins moving on there, which is rather interesting. But I had the Twins moving on over the Yankees. So we'll see. We'll see how the Yankees do. But I think I did mess that up pretty bad. Then we had the 4-seeded Rangers. I had them as the top American League wild card against the 5-seeded Mariners, the second best American League wild card. And I had the Rangers taking down Seattle. Again, injuries derailed us, and yes, I was biased. I hate to admit it, but I was biased, and I can't let my bias get in the way of my predictions, because as you'll see, my my bias kind of sold my American League predictions. In the National League, however, I think this was kind of accurate. I had the 4-seeded Braves taking on the 5-seeded Diamondbacks. The Braves were a 5 seed instead of a 4, but they were in the mix for that spot, and the Diamondbacks were also right there in the mix for that spot as well until the last couple days of the season. So this is not terrible. I have the Diamondbacks moving on here over the Braves. Unfortunately, that's not going to be correct either. Then we have the 3-seeded Cubs taking on the 6-seeded Padres. That is also clearly not correct. The Padres did make the playoffs, while the Cubbies did not. And I was definitely wrong there as well. I did have the Padres moving on, though, which I do think is going to happen. But we'll get to my updated picks off of this actual postseason picture right here later. Here we have, in the ALDS, I had the 2-seeded Orioles, so right here, this area, I think, it would be this area. I had the 2-seeded Orioles taking on the 3-seeded Twins, where I had Baltimore moving on in a 5-game series, which seems maybe plausible. Maybe Baltimore gets on a run. Then in the other American League matchup, I had the Astros taking on the Rangers, and yes, I let my bias get in the way. I had the Rangers winning in 4. I don't want to talk about it, okay? I don't want to talk about it. In the National League, I had the Phillies taking on the D-backs, which is not the craziest thing. I had the 1-seeded Phillies taking on the 5-seed D-backs. Not too far off there, as the D-backs were definitely in the mix. 16 minutes. Man, this is going to be long. And the Phillies, I had the Phillies winning in 5 there. So a long series, but the Phillies end up getting the job done. Then I had the 2-seeded Dodgers taking on the 6-seeded Padres. And this is my most likely matchup to happen. If the Padres take down Atlanta, this matchup will happen. So, I didn't get the seeding right. In real life, it'll be a 1 against 4 rather than a 2 against 6, as I had predicted. But I might have gotten the matchup right. And I have the Dodgers winning that one in 5. But maybe we're changing that up for the playoffs. Now, updated. In my predictions, I had the Rangers taking on the Orioles in the American League Championship Series, and I biasedly picked the Rangers to move on with a 6-game victory. No. That's very wrong. And then in the National League, I have Phillies-Dodgers, where I had the Phils taking a hard-fought 6-game series as well. And then that means my World Series matchup was Phillies-Rangers. I wasn't biased here, as I picked the Phillies to win the World Series at the beginning of the year and a dramatic 7-game series. I'm glad I didn't let my bias take complete control of me there. But, yeah. I had the Phillies winning the World Series. So, that's my predictions. We're going to go and look at my awards real quick, and then I will re-pick this playoff picture right here, and then that'll be the vid. So, in the American League, we had more bias. In the American League MVP, I had my favorite player, Marcus Semien, winning. I don't want to talk about it. My thought process was he's an Iron Man. He hits for contact. He hits for power. He's a pretty good 5-tool player. He's a great fielder, great hitter. He can hit for power. He's quick. Whatever. American League Rookie of the Year. I really don't feel like this one is biased. I had Evan Carter winning the Rookie of the Year, and a lot of sports writers did. I saw a lot of people saying Carter or Langford. This one doesn't feel biased to me, and really if Carter hadn't been injured, there's a real chance he could have won AL Roy, but alas, he did not. AL Cy Young, I had Pablo Lopez. After he had a breakout performance last year, I feel like, for Minnesota, and he had a great playoff outing for Minnesota against Houston, I felt like he had a real chance this year. And while he had a good season, he did not win the Cy Young. He won't win the Cy Young. And for the Manager of the Year, I had Joe Espada, the Astros manager. I thought the storyline would be like, maybe the Astros' demise is happening, but instead they won 105 under a new manager, and he wins Manager of the Year. In reality, I would have to guess that Stephen Vogt of the Guardians, or whoever the heck the Royals manager is, will win Manager of the Year, but we will see. In the National League, I had the MVP once again being Ronald Acuna Jr. Same thing as Carter. Injuries really derailed any chance of me getting that one. This is my best prediction right here, though. In the National League, I predicted the Rookie of the Year to be Jackson Merrill of the Padres. I don't know why. But I remember staying up, getting up at like 3 in the morning to go watch Dodgers Padres. When it opened in Korea, is that where they were, or China? And I just remember thinking, hey, this rookie Merrill kid looks really good. And yeah, I ended up picking him, and that looks like it could pay dividends for my predictions. And the National League, I had Freddie Peralta winning the Cy Young for the Brewers. And I had that for a couple reasons. One, I just really liked the dude, thought he was a great pitcher. He still was this year, just isn't going to be in Cy Young contention. And I also thought Corbin Burns is going to Baltimore, so he's going to be the new ace in Milwaukee, and maybe he can win them a ton of games. He was good, not that good. And then finally, as the manager of the year for the Phillies, I had it being Rob Thompson. There's a chance that he could win manager of the year. Kind of doubt it. I'm guessing it will go to one of Milwaukee or New York here. But yeah, so now, to close us out here, I'm going to pick the postseason as it is. So here we have Houston, Detroit. I'm going to speed through this because I don't want this to be super long. I think Houston will take care of business here. I don't see this being a problem for them. They win this in 2. Detroit's had a great run. I don't think it continues. Same thing with Baltimore, Kansas City. Maybe Seth Lugo can go out and get a Game 1 win for them, but he's probably matched up against Corbin Burns, and I just don't see that happening. Baltimore wins in 2. In the National League, we have Mets, Brewers. This one's really interesting to me. It's 2 teams that you did not expect to be here, or at least I didn't expect to be here. But I think I'm going to give the edge to New York. I say New York comes out and beats them in 3. I feel like the Brewers have not been a good playoff team in recent memory, i.e. the Diamondbacks wildcard series last year where they just got swept lifelessly. And obviously that Diamondbacks team ended up being really, really good. But I don't see the Brewers making a run. Mets advance under the reign of OMG by Jose Iglesias. That dude's actually really funny for making a song and coming back. Braves Padres is the most interesting wildcard series to me. Go ahead and give me San Diego. I like the pitching for them, believe it or not. And I like the Padres. I think they're gonna under the radar have a year. So we're gonna take them over ATL. Yeah. So over to the DS, we're gonna have Houston, Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland's gonna make a run either. I think Houston steamrolls them and proves that they are still here. They're still around. Houston in 5. Or sorry, no, Houston in 4. Cleveland will take a game, but I don't see Cleveland making a run. Then you have Baltimore, Kansas City. No, we just did that. Sorry, we have Yankees, Baltimore. This is an interesting one that I've gone back and forth on. At the end of the day, I feel like the X factor is going to be the bullpen. For both teams, it's been iffy this year, I feel like. But I'm going to give the edge to New York because of home field advantage and Judge's ability to hit it out in Yankee Stadium specifically. So give me the Yanks in 5 behind a raucous crowd. That's going to be crazy atmosphere. We're going to have Phillies Mets over here. I expect the Mets run to end here. I'm sticking with Philadelphia for right here. Staying with my original prediction of them winning the World Series. I have them advancing to the CS. I'll take them in 4. Dodgers Padres. Here's my big upset. I think the Dodgers fold again with the $1 billion team. Or player, sorry, Shohei. I think the Padres beat them in 4. And the Dodgers are really left questioning themselves, like, what's going wrong? Why can't we win these playoff games? But yeah, so that leaves us with Houston, New York, and Philly, and San Diego. Out in the American League, I have Houston. And this pains me to say as a Rangers fan, but I have Houston winning in 7. No, actually, you know what? I'm gonna flip this. Give me the Yanks in 7. Give me the Yanks in 7. I think that the Yanks can do this. Sorry, I'm getting my phone out and changing my MLB bracket prediction on the fantasy app. I really think that we are going to see a Yankees victory here. So Yankees get it done right there. So, yeah. And then, sorry, I was messing with my phone. Yankees move on after winning in 7. Phillies beat the Padres in 6. Padres sputter out once again in a bit of a reenactment of 2022. So in the championship, the World Series, we have Phillies Yanks. Give me the Phillies in 6. I think Phillies finally get it done. Bryce Harper, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, the guys, they get their chip. I'm sticking with my original pick. Yeah. So, with that, this is my longest ever video, and it's a different type of video, just talking about the MLB, but I enjoy doing this. So let me know if y'all would like me to make more commentary about the MLB playoffs as it goes on, or next year, or any other sports. I'd be down to do the NBA, as I'm going to start making videos once a week on that basketball game, which this comes out on Tuesday at 1:30, and the basketball video should come out Wednesday at like the normal time at like 5. So yeah, with that, please like and subscribe. God bless you all. And with that, I'm out. Peace.